Good evening. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Sunday, the 5th of January. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at the equity and hourly charts first. And we saw a decent rally on Friday. I'd mentioned in the morning that there was some unresolved positive divergence, and we did get it. So we came back up to the resistance at the monthly pivot at 59.93. Now, last time we were breaking up from that, we were breaking up from a potential double bottom. Not the case this time, although if we were to see a pullback into, let's say, the 59.20 area and then a move up, we could get a very nice looking inverted head and shoulders. I am wondering if we might go up from here. I've spent quite a lot of time working on the index charts, but I'll look at those when I'm looking at the RTH charts. Okay, in terms of the NQ chart, we got basically up to resistance at the monthly pivot again. On RTY, we don't know what's happening here really. I am wondering if this is a setup that might result in a retest of this low, but it doesn't need to. And I would say that we've got daily buy signals fixed now on the IWM chart, and we've got one brewing on the Dia chart. On RTY, we've got a potential double bottom here. And it's not a bad one, but it would be improved if we did actually do a full retest of this low. On YM, we did do a full retest of the low. And actually, we did one on IWM as well, although we didn't manage it on RTY. And we've got, again, another nice looking double bottom. And a possible daily buy signal brewing there. In terms of DAX and the STX, these still look like bear flags for me. And that's probably because they are. So leaning towards those delivering a low retest, and obviously there's a distinct possibility we are going to head down. I think we've got unresolved business to the downside. The question is whether we're going to see some retests to the upside before we do that. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Right, on a yes, no current divergence here. Obviously, we we retested this low, and we made this low, and I said we were likely to come back down and make a lower low. We have made a lower low, only marginally, but nonetheless. Could this be a double bottom here? No, it is far too large, and exactly the same thing goes for the Qs. It is far too large to be a double bottom. They could be double bottoms on Dia, where we've got a potential nice little one here, and on IWM because these were leading the downtrend, and in relative terms, the rally was far less. The rally was mainly on SPX and NDX, and those ones it went too high to bear flag. In the event that we don't break up, I'd be leaning towards seeing a breakdown. Now, I've done quite a lot of work here, and I'm still processing some of that, but I've been moving over to log charts on some of the bigger picture charts here. Not on this one here, but I've been adding some, which I'm still mulling over. In a lot of cases, but particularly I did quite a lot of work on NDX, which I switched the monthly and the weekly charts over to the log charts. Just because I tested them out, they were holding the trend lines and they're looking better than the standard charts do, so I switched over to them. All right, so looking at SPX here, do we have, this is just as a question that I've been asked a couple of times, is do we have any signs that we're making a significant high here? And I'd have to go with no. I don't think so, no. I think we would see more in the way of sell signals here. We'd probably see an RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the monthly chart, and we've got nothing. Furthermore, we haven't really hit the obvious targets to the upside. I've been looking at this trend line here for quite a while. We could be making a smaller high here, and may well be making a smaller high here. But in terms of a larger high, no, I think it's probably got higher to go. I mean, no certainties in these things, but I'm leaning towards it. All right, SPX on the daily chart. We did see the biggest spike in the last 3 years. Just before the new year, and this is suggesting we're probably going to see some more downside here. We are forming a potential head and shoulders. We have got also a nice trend line on the resistance, and we've got a corresponding support trend line currently at about the 56.50 area. There are a lot of reasons to go down here, and I'm not seeing much reason on SPX to think that this isn't going to go down. Nice looking head and shoulders forming, as I said. On the hourly chart, it's mainly about that. This could be a bull flag or a triangle forming, but honestly, the setup isn't that great. But it is better on the other indices. Looking at the 15-minute here, the RSI 14 buy signal we started out with on Friday made target, and the RSI 5 sell signal has fixed. Waiting to see. But this obviously isn't an overall bottoming pattern. And in terms of the short term, well, it's not a great bottoming pattern there either, but it is a potential one. All right, looking at NDX, bigger picture, I've got this nice looking setup here, and I'm not saying we're necessarily going to go up here, but obviously there is potentially quite a lot of scope for upside on the obvious resistance trend line. That remains to be seen, but we will see. Looking at the Qs, this is just back on the standard chart, obviously. We've got resistance currently at the monthly pivot. We may get over that. If we do, then I would note that on the hourly chart, this looks an awful lot like a bull flag, and this could well be a bull flag. And what I was saying was that we might well do retest the highs on SPX and NDX, and at the moment that's still on the cards. And the possible IHS I was talking about on ES forming, we've got another one here on NQ. If we started off going down tomorrow, we could form nice right shoulders and then break up on both of them. On the 15-minute. Again, we got a buy signal, and that made target, and we got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed at the close. So this would be, look at this here. This would be the neckline for the IHS 519.36, 519.65. It's nice. That could deliver, and I'll be watching that on Monday. So that would be ideally right. Go down to about the 512 area and move up from there. All right, great. Let's have a look at Dow. Dow, I was experimenting as well. I've not really got an awful lot to come back from that, but I'm going to be working on these for weeks yet. On the daily chart, though, we've now got a possible weak RSI 14 buy signal bring. Nothing on the RSI 5. Got a nice looking potential little double bottom, and we are heading back up towards the daily middle band at the moment. Now, one thing I wanted to mention was the weekly middle band. This is something I'm usually watching. SPX has had a nice test because the weekly middle band isn't a bad support area, not at all. NDX didn't quite get down to it. Dow is been trying to break below the weekly middle band, but it's holding so far. And IWM, hold on a second. All right, hang on one sec. IWM on the weekly chart has been trying to break below as well, and actually has broken below, but not unless it's not really broken away from it to the downside. It keeps coming back. Now, it may well be that we're going to make a low here, and if we do, then we've got a nice looking double bottom on IWM. It's very nice. This one made a lower low. They all made lower lows on the RTH indices. So I'm wondering about these. This is a nice looking double bottom. We could break out and deliver that. And if so, that would really only be about a 50% retracement. On Dow, it would be a bit more than that. Hang on. Yeah, we get much of a return back up to the highs of this one, and possibly even a retest if it could pick up the pace. But what we might well see retests on would be SPX and NDX, and both of these we could make pretty nice looking double tops. Now we've got a very possible inverse head and shoulders forming on SPX now, but nice looking high retest and fail would set up a very nice looking double top. Force patterns which do look as though they need to go lower. This is the rising wedge on SPX, and it's obviously only had a very modest retracement so far. Retest that high, we can get down to the 61.8 of this wedge from the August low, and I'm thinking that might well be the obvious target, but we may well go up afterwards. I don't have anything really which is saying strongly that we've got a big high in forming here, and that we've reached the right area for a big high. I'd be looking for monthly and weekly sell signals, and it's thin. And you can see we quite often get monthly sell signals, but we don't have anything at the moment. We've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed here, but these don't tend to make targets. More often than not, they don't. I'm mainly looking at the RSI 5. Have we got a sell signal there? No. Have we got a divergence? No. That suggests we're going to see some back and forth retracements and retests until we develop that. Now, I'm not saying it necessarily has to have sell signals, but it usually does. And this is obviously, this is looking at a 40-year chart, and it's got quite a strong pattern of getting sell signals. No, it's not all the way. If you look at the 2007-2008 high, there was nothing. So, it's not always, but certainly since the 2008 crash, we've had a couple of fails, but we had a big high there, not huge retracements, but they were significant, and a big high there. These all had sell signals, and we haven't got one of those. We'd be more confident about seeing some retracement if we did. Again, we get quite a lot of sell signals on the monthly RSI 5 on down. Have we got one here? No. Any divergence? No. Looking at IWM. So no divergence, no signal, and again, here it's rarer that we see them, but we do get, we get more weekly ones. It's a maybe, but there's nothing compelling saying that we've seen a big high here. And that we're not going to do more retests and go a bit higher. I'd be leaning towards saying that, so we shall see. All right, IWM. There are some targets to the downside here, but that's a nice looking. We've got this double top, which is broken down, and really, what I said just after that broken down was that either this would make the target in the 206 to 209 area, or it would project back up, usually to the high, but we could do a 50% retrace and then go down, and that wouldn't be unusual at all. And actually, this double bottom, that would get us to the 50% retrace or slightly more. It might well hold there. We will see. I think this is going to be a very interesting year, but is it going to start off with a huge decline? Possibly, but there's nothing compelling saying that's going to happen. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at DAX and ESTX. DAX, I've also been experimenting. Got some very nice daily charts here, actually. But looking back on these time frames, obviously DAX is now up 2.5 times since the low in 2020. A lot of the other indices are here, and actually on DAX, I'm not really getting much in the way of trend lines until I look at this on the log chart, where I've got this perfect daily rising channel. I'm taking that quite seriously, actually. And but I would note on this one, the next obvious target would be down at the support. We'll see how that goes. But we've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed. It's too weak for me to be taking a lot of notice for it. We're still hanging fairly tough and looking fairly strong on Nikkei, and if we do see a decent move up, we might see a retest of this high here at 42.4, which can give us a really compelling looking nested double top. So we will see how it goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at CL. Okay, CL, we've been heading higher here. I was asked about this last week, and I said, yes, we've broken out of the current range, and we've broken up towards the main resistance here, and that is the 200 DMA, which I've got in the 75.5 area. I've got more to add to that, but I'll add to that on the RTH chart. All right, looking at natural gas, we saw a spike up to 4.2, and then that's been coming back. I've more to say about this on the RTH charts as well. But at the moment, I think we're waiting to see how this develops. Could this be a bull flag? Yes, but it doesn't need to be, and the trend lines aren't great. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. On CL, obviously we're getting to nosebleed levels on the RSI 5 here, but no current negative divergence on the daily. But what I am looking at on the W-tick charts is we've got the 200 DMA, and I've got that up at the 75.46 area at the moment. That is a key resistance level. I've also got this potential triangle resistance trend line here, and I've got that at 76 and change. And I've also got the main declining resistance trend line here, and it's a nice one. It is a nice one. 1, 2, 3 touches. That's a good trend line, and that is up in about the 77.8 area. So those are the resistance levels I'm going to be watching, and I just want to show you how that looks on my monthly chart. Look, I've drawn in this potential triangle here. Basically, multi-year triangle. This is coming from 130.50. But you can see we're reaching the trend line on that potentially. I'm wondering if this is one huge triangle, but if so, we're going to fail at the daily middle band. In fact, sorry, the 200 DMA, and in fact, we're probably not going to reach it because I've got that in about the 75 area. Watching that with great interest. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to deliver anything, but nonetheless, watching it with great interest. We don't really have anything in terms of signals here to light the way. If we are going to get a signal, the closest thing would be to getting one would be a 200 DMA test, which delivered a negative divergence on the daily RSI 5. We'll see whether we get that, but at the moment, those are the resistance levels I'm looking at. Basically, 75 through 78. That's the resistance zone. I'd be looking for reversal of that, and if we didn't get it, then we might actually be looking at a breakup here. So we shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at natural gas. Now, natural gas, obviously we've seen a serious spike up. That took us through declining resistance with a lot of power. Declining resistance is broken at 315. We made it up to 420. Now, looking at the nat gas chart, could this be a double bottom breaking up? Yes. Is it a pretty double bottom? Not particularly, no, but maybe. It could be. This was the potential neckline I was looking at, but this could be an asymmetric double bottom, in which case we'd be looking at a minimum target in about the about the 5.3 area, 5.3 to 5.8. So could that be in progress here? Yeah, it could. Again, we haven't got a lot in terms of the negative divergence here. This would only be a weak sell signal if this delivers, and it's pretty close to fixing now. Looking at the weekly chart, we've got a very old RSI 14 buy signal, which has already reached the possible near miss target, and on the monthly chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal when, in fact, really I don't pay much attention to an RSI 5 one. And even then, they're pretty rare. So daily charts are the ones I'm mainly looking at here, and at the moment we got ZIP. We are testing rising support on the nat gas index chart, and I'm watching that with great interest as we also try to break below the daily middle band. If we can get through those, then we may be looking at a larger pattern. Although at the moment, I definitely need to put more work into working out exactly what that might be. It's I'm nothing particularly obvious springs to the eye. But again, we could go back and retest the low, but I have to say that seems to stretch away from here. But I will say that we've not been seeing it lately in recent weeks, but we do have a seasonally weak period from here into April. Not seen any sign of that so far, but generally you will see a significant decline into a significant low when you get that. This is the low in April 23. Here you have a low, and actually it was a bit early. This was in December, but it's the same decline, and you don't really move much from it for a couple of months. If you go back to the previous year, we were making a significant low in April. If you go back to the year before that, we made a significant low in April. No, late March, I think. Year before that, you can see the pattern here. There are a lot of lows in the next 3 months, particularly, and we will see how that goes. In the short term, I would note that we reached the 200-week moving average, and are testing that as resistance, and we'll see how it goes from there. But at the moment, on the dailies, we're over all the moving averages, or at least we got over all the moving averages. But we've got them in the ribbon of moving averages is here. Top one is the 50 DMA at about 3.1. If we get there, I'll be watching that. But if we get there, then we will already have triggered the sell signal, I think. And I'll probably be looking down into the April period. We'll see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the metals. And so let's have a look at GC. GC, this is looking an awful lot like a bear flag. Weak 60-minute sell signals reached the possible near miss target though, and it could be that this is going to be something else. But at the moment, the thing it looks most like is a bear flag. All right, this is a nice looking potential level bottom on SI. It could be improved by a retest of this low. But I am wondering about this as a potential level bottom. But much depends on US dollar, but we'll be getting to that. Right, HG, I was talking about a retest of this low here. We saw it. We went a little lower. We've got a little level bottom here, which is broken up. And we're testing this declining resistance on this wedge I drew in. Could this break up here? Yes. But again, we're likely going to need a bit of cooperation from the dollar. And I'm coming to that. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on the metals, though. Right. Looking at gold, we've got on the GC chart no current divergence. We could be forming an overall triangle here. I've drawn one in as a potential, but I think this is some kind of bullish consolidation. But the question is this a triangle? In which case we've probably come down far enough, and we'd be forming a decent triangle here. Or is this another kind of flag, in which case it could be A, B, C, and we might need another leg down. And we do have a potential trigger for that leg down on US dollar. On the weekly chart, no current divergence. On the monthly chart, no current divergence, not much divergence. I think this is just a bullish consolidation, though, so if we're going to make negative divergence, which we probably will in due course, I'd be expecting to see that higher. Looking at the silver chart, we've almost had a very nice looking RSI 5 buy signal here, but we didn't quite retest this low here at 29.15, so we didn't get it. SI again didn't retest the low. You can see 29.145 and 29.2. This could be a short-term bear flag forming. Looking at copper, we've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing here, and it's actually pretty nice. It hasn't fixed yet, but we've got exactly the same setup, obviously, on the index, and I'm watching this with great interest. We will see how that goes, but I think if we can see if it fixes, then we may actually be looking at a significant reversal here. Although this double bottom would have been improved had we done a full retest of this 4.002 instead of stopping just above it. Nonetheless, I've seen plenty of double bottoms like this play out, so I'd then be looking for a break over the 200 DMA, and that could get us back. Sustained break could get us back into this retest this high here at 4.79. We shall see. All right, let's also have a look at palladium. Palladium, no divergence, but we're breaking over declining resistance, which is promising. On platinum, all right, platinum. We went lower, and that kind of ruined the nice looking double bottom setup we had here, but we did take out this lower low here, and I've got a potential declining resistance trend line, even if I don't really have another trend line to match with it. I'm watching that, and I've got that currently at about the 956 area. All right, looking at GDX. GDX, we had an RSI 5 buy signal fix this week, and that reached almost the target, so I've got that down as no current divergence. We had exactly the same on GDXJ. Did we do any significant damage to the upside? Not really. But this could be the start of a breakup, but we've got nothing really in pattern terms suggesting that it's strong. Although I did quite like this trend line here. We will see, but it didn't really hold up on the 60-minute chart when I was looking at it there. So at the moment, there's nothing really that compelling. We shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the ZB chart. Now, ZB, I've been talking about this having a rally, which we saw, and then probably continuing the downside. We're now into the zone where we've got to make that decision. Not quite as obvious on ZB as it is on TNX, but it's pretty obvious on TNX. I'm expecting TNX to continue higher and ZB to continue lower. I was talking about the 104 to 106 area, just an estimate, but probably not that far away. All right, looking at DX. DX has gone a bit higher here. No current negative divergence on the daily chart. Oh, sorry, on the hourly chart. Let's have a look at the bigger picture chart. All right, looking at the DX chart, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we now have a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. These are nice sell signals, and we could see a reversal here. But what I've written on the US dollar monthly and weekly charts is possible 114.75 high retest in progress. And that is this high that we made here. And I'm wondering whether we could make it up to that high. I've seen some wild retests from positions where you wouldn't expect it to make the second high of a double top. And I'm wondering if we could see that here. And at the moment, we're not seeing anything really compelling saying it's about to reverse, but it could do. We will see. If it reverses hard, then that's going to be good for precious metals. If it goes up to 114.75, then we're probably not going to see much upside from precious metals. In terms of the charts, though, I'm quite liking the divergence here. We've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing, got an RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, we've got possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. We're certainly not short of divergence. In terms of a pattern, we are pretty close to one target I was talking about. When I was talking about this rally starting down here, and when we started it and broke up from the double bottom, I drew in this trend line here and said that it was the only obvious resistance trend line that we would have on the way. And we're getting there. We are, in fact, very close to it. We got up to about 109.36, and I've got this at about 109.65. I'm wondering if we could go up to that and reverse, in which case I'd be leaning towards an A, B, C. And I think that might be what we were going to get. Go up to 114.75, and potentially we have a far larger move down coming, as that would be a nice setup for a double top. And it's the obvious place to see a double top, because we've seen this multi-year move, which I've still got notes on from 2012 when I was calling the lows here. But I mean, we've seen this multi-year move, and we've got this lovely looking pattern, and this would be a good time to take a double top and at least do a partial retracement of that, maybe get down to 85 or something. That would rock a lot of worlds. It would do very, very impressive things for precious metals, I think. That's, we will see how that goes. But I'm expecting to see a big decline in dollar starts next year, and that's nothing to do with Trump or politics or whatever. It's just a cycles thing and patterns thing. You have these huge multi-decade setups on basic, particularly on oil, on bonds and US dollar. And those are something I watch, and they tend to deliver pretty well. And that's why I'm thinking we might retest 114.75. Got a lot of negative divergence here. Maybe we won't do it. We'll see. All right. The currency pairs, I've got they're divided, I think, between a reversal here and going up higher. We'll see. All right, TNX. On the monthly charts, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We already made the RSI 5 sell signal target. But in the shorter term, I'm thinking that we've got a flag here and that we've broken up from it, and then we've pulled back, and then we've gone broken up harder from it. And really, the obvious next target is a retest of this high here at 49.97, because that's where the flag target would be. On the daily chart, we've got some sell signals fixed, and that could send up ZB a bit more. But I have to say, we've seen a bit of a retracement here, and that could be done. We could head straight up from here, and really, one way or another, and sooner or later, we've got a date with 49.97, and that's likely where this ends. And really, I'm expecting that to get there in the next few months. I'd be very surprised not to see that test in 2025. And it could well find that we see it within a couple of months. We will see how that goes. I'm watching with interest, but if TNX hits that target, then we're going to be seeing ZB coming down and at least thinking about testing 100 again. All right, great. In that case, let's have a look at the other commodities. KC, this looks an awful lot like a bull flag for me, and I think it is. We're likely to have a bid under this because of dodgy crop numbers, issues with weather. So there's likely to be a bid under the coffee price. Looking at the sugar chart, sugar, nice looking potential reversal set up here. Not quite sure what it would be, but we might be forming the right shoulder and inverted head and shoulders. Looking at the cocoa chart, we've seen a big rally. This could be an ABC down, or we could be down to the downside. Keeping an open mind, obviously it's going to look more bullish if it can hold a monthly pivot at 111.59. Currently supported by the weekly pivot only just below it. Okay, looking at CT, I was looking for a retest of this low here, and we're very close to that. I'm thinking this could be a nested double bottom setup with double bottom here, and there'll be a third double bottom, which you can't see on this chart because it's been forming for too long. This could be a big reversal, and I'm watching out for that as a potential on cotton. More about that on the daily chart. ZW, I was leaning towards seeing a retest of this low, and this could be the second low of a double bottom. I would like to see it be the second low of a double bottom. We will see. But of course, if the dollar goes up heavily, then it may go down in sympathy. Nice looking potential double top here, which is trying to break down on corn. I've drawn in the targets, which I've got between about 439.5 and 440.75. We'll see how that goes. But I think that could deliver. On soy, I'm wondering about a possible retest of this low. So there is scope for grains to go down quite a lot, and that would actually fit if, of course, the dollar is going to go up a significant amount from where it is right now. All right, looking at lumber, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this low. We're almost there. Although we do have a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed now. On live cattle, we went higher and are pulling back a bit. And on lean hogs, nice looking double bottom here. We got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed, and this looks like a nice looking bull flag, and we could be about to break up from it. Watching this with great interest. If we see a sustained break up over the double bottom resistance in the 81.875 area, then we should see a test, I think, of this flag resistance, which I've currently got in the 84.375 area. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Hang on. KC, RSI 14 sell signal is fixed, and I'm a little concerned about that, and I wasn't expecting it. And we're also breaking back below the daily middle band. So we could be going a little lower. This could just be a bull flag before we go higher, though. Got to say, on the crop data, I wasn't expecting the sell signal fix, so watching with interest. On sugar, we've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed. We've got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fixed. No, they're only weak signals, but they're very definite divergences. Double bottom here might break up. It might only be a rally, but nonetheless, it should be a significant rally. CC, the current divergence, holding the daily middle band as it's broken back above. It's back testing the daily middle band. As long as that holds, and it holds the monthly pivot, of course, then which I was showing you on the 60-minute chart, we've got a shot at going back up into a retest of this high. On wheat, we've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed, and we've retested this low here. This is a nice looking bottoming setup. Normally, if it wasn't for the other two looking so bearish, I'd be leaning significantly bullish here. This is a nice looking bottoming setup. It's a decent wedge. It's a break up. It's a retest of the low. This is a pretty routine bottoming setup, and I like it. But got to say, it's looking less promising on corn, which obviously you can see on this chart potentially could go down a long way, and go back and retest this low here at 403.60. And on soy, no current divergence. But again, I'd be wondering about a retest this low. We've broken over the wedge resistance, and I got to say that the hourly chart's not that encouraging. We're trying to hold the daily middle band at the moment, but I got to say the grains not looking that promising really. On cotton, when we see a retest this low, and we've almost seen a retest this low, we will get a possible RSI 14 buy signal break. Now we don't get too many of those, so we don't have a lot of track record. And at the moment, I'm not seeing an obvious setup to get an RSI 5 buy signal, which I'd regard as generally more reliable. But nonetheless, we've got a nice looking setup here. This is the little double bottom that we'd be setting up. This is the large double bottom we'd be setting up, and this is the largest double bottom we'd be setting up. Altogether, this is an awful lot of tests of a big support area, and I think we could see a big reversal here. I would like to see a big reversal here, so we will see how that goes. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. I will catch you guys again on Wednesday. All right, cheers.